Good late morning beginning, farmer friends. We're tackling that today. I don't really want to do it, but we're going to do it. First, let's finish up a few chores. Then that. We've got to do that. First, I'm going to fill the water tank. 300 gallons or so should do it. Feed for those pigs in electric fence training school. New mineral block for the sheep. They're thankful. Water the chickens. Feed the chickens. Water the cows. That's a cow. Water the pigs. I'm just out here kind of checking up on the pigs, seeing what kind of job they're doing, and they're actually doing a pretty good job. Not only are they coming into areas like this and knocking everything down, eating what they want to eat, knocking down what they're not eating, but also when I go over to an area like this, you can see that they're starting to root it up a little bit. So one of the concerns that I have is, you know, some of this tall standing stuff, when it gets knocked down and trampled on, will the disc be able to break it up really well, or would it have helped if I kind of chopped it with a brush hog first? I'm not sure yet what the best idea is. In some comments on my last video, a lot of people had good ideas that maybe I should have brought the cows in here first, and maybe I should have. Typically that's what I do, is flash graze the cattle before I bring the pigs into a spot. I just brought the pigs in right away this time. We've kind of warmed up a little bit. Again, we're back into the 80s, not super warm. It's actually supposed to cool down again tomorrow, but it looks like the pigs have kind of come back to the woods. There's a bunch of them along the edge of the woods here, and then down in their little ravine. There's a bunch of them down here just kind of hanging out. Of course, after 4 inches or 3.5 inches of rain, whatever we got, there's some more wallow ground down here, so they're hanging out down in the woods and just kind of enjoying the day. It is actually in the shade here. It is gorgeous right now. It feels comfortable, very, very comfortable. Probably low 80 degrees, but feels even cooler in the shade here. All right, chores are done, and I've got a plan to tackle this monster. I don't really want to tackle this monster, but I need to tackle this monster. So this is where we left it last. I started organizing everything into buckets by categories. So tools, fence supplies, things like that. I went to town today and I got some more toolboxes. They didn't have a ton of them, but I got 3 more bigger toolboxes. I've got some other toolboxes in the shed and totes where I've already started organizing things. And my idea is to use those toolboxes, those totes, everything that I have to start organizing, and then use pallets. The idea with pallets is to get everything on here in pallets, or everything that can be on a pallet in here, so that when it comes time to lay concrete, we can just take all the pallets out, and when we're done, we can bring the pallets in and start putting up shelves and just get everything together. That is the ultimate goal, is to get concrete down in here and then stuff on shelves, whether they're shelves way up high. Just as I was doing chores just now, I was thinking we've got things like these fans right here that we use once a year for county fair, or maybe for a couple weeks for county fair. I thought, if we put shelves way up there at the top of the building, we could set those up there and that would be perfect. I've got a lot of ideas. I would love your ideas, so drop all your ideas down in the comments below. Here's the deal. I'm a little over 2 hours, almost 3 hours into this project right now, and it kind of is at the place where you are making a bigger mess than you can even imagine. If I come out here into the sun, it's going to get real bright for a second, but these right here on this pallet are chemicals that I know what they are. The labels are still on them. They were just covered in dust and mud and stuff like that, so I cleaned them off. Back there, some stuff getting cleaned off. Down here, some stuff that needs to get cleaned off. Here's a pallet with fence posts. Here's a pallet that I've been drying stuff on. Here is a pallet of 4-H stuff. Sitting on top of this fuel tank right here is just a bunch of stuff that needs a home, that doesn't have a home. Stuff like milk bottle stuff and things like that. This is a kind of a big mess right now too. All of this stuff came out of my fencing tub, my electric fencing tub, and these are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different buckets full of different types of fence insulators. So all of that came out of this tub here, and the tub was packed from top to bottom, which meant that apparently I just kept going and buying more fence insulators because they were stacked at the bottom, the ones that I needed, and I didn't see them, so I just went and bought more fence insulators. Garbage here. This is the other kind of problem area right here. is just a bunch of tools and parts and pieces that I'm not sure what to do with. So these two green things right here, they actually are spare parts for the grinder mixer. I need to save them, but where do I put them? Broken axe heads, tire changing supplies, a jack, that kind of stuff. What do I do with it? This jack, actually, I've got a case for it. It's out drying, so that kind of will have a home. All of this, I guess, can have a home once we have some cement in here and do that kind of thing. Walking along here, we've got this shelf. This is where most of those chemicals came from. Oils and things like that. That's practically empty. This stuff here, I need to basically just put on a pallet. All of this stuff here is bigger stuff that just needs to go on a pallet. I talked about that already. That's oil that needs to disappear. So a little bit of progress. I do have a question for you though. Overall, this building is 24 foot wide by 48 foot long, and it has a 16 foot lean-to on the side. So off the back here, I'm in the lean-to. Over here, I'm in the shed. Over here, I'm in the lean-to. Over here, I'm in the shed. You get the idea. And that lean-to side of the building we use for livestock. So the pigs that I had quarantined before I just moved them out the other day onto in front of the hoop house there to train them to electric, I had them quarantined in this shed. That gilt was in this shed as it was being quarantined. That kind of thing. In the winter, we'll bring animals in here. We'll lamb in here or let the cows run in the cold and stuff like that. So it gets used for animals with deep bedding and corn stalks, which creates some dust. When we turn this into a shop slash place for our walk-in freezer and things like that, I need to have a divider between here so that all that dust doesn't come up and over. So right now we just have a short little 4-foot wall there. Eventually it needs to go all the way up. So I guess my question is, what should we put there? Should I go up with plywood or some sort of paneling like that? Should I go up with steel facing that way? Do I need to put a vapor barrier? I think I need to put a vapor barrier, kind of like a Tyvek type of thing. And then what do I need to do to make sure it's sealed up at the top? Because my fear, I guess, is that, you know, all that dust will rise up and come over into the shop, which I don't really want to have happen, which is why so much of this stuff is dusty over here. So I don't know if you know this about YouTube, but there's a comment section below all of these videos, whether you're on your phone or on your computer, you can leave a comment. So I would love comments with your ideas. How should we divide the animal part of the shed from the shop part of the shed? Let me know. Comments below. I've got an embarrassing illustration here that I want to share with you. I've got in this bucket 3 of these calf bottles. Now, here's the embarrassing thing. We have never, ever, ever in our 10 or 12 years of farming needed 3 calf bottles. We have never had more than 1 calf ever that we've bottle fed. And yet I have 3 calf bottles. And the reason that I have 3 calf bottles is because an emergency comes and we need to bottle feed a calf. And I can't find a calf bottle. So I run to the farm store and I buy a calf bottle. And I buy nipples for the calf bottle. And I buy more nipples for calf bottles and more nipples for calf bottles and more nipples for calf bottles. And the same thing for lamb bottles. And I have never, ever, 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 ever had more than 1 calf on the bottle at one time. That's the problem that I'm trying to solve right now. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Enough is enough. I am headed to town right now. I'm gonna go get some containers, some toolboxes, whatever I can find that I can just put stuff in so that it has a home and that when I need it, I can find it so that I don't end up with 3 bottle calf bottles or 400 T-post fence insulators. Who does this? How much money have I wasted? Goodness. We are back on the farm. Let's see what I got. All right, I got a few different sizes, 2 different sizes toolboxes. I got a big tote and I got some of these little things. None of this stuff was expensive. None of it probably will last forever, but if I put it on shelves where it's not just getting beat around and dropped on the ground, I think it'll hold up all right. It's probably not everything I need, it's just a start. Can we talk about the insanity that was my system or lack of system? Everything that is in these tubs was in this tub. Now this tub is not fully full. This is kind of like fencing overflow here. I do know that I have a bucket of fencing stuff in our house shed where we keep the tools that I'm using because I've got a fencing project, and so I've got all the tools that I need in that for the fencing project that I haven't finished yet. But this whole tub right here, this is all wood post fence insulators, or that toolbox there. This toolbox here is odds and ends. There's some like offset wood post insulators. There's some re-rod post insulators. This tub, our toolbox down here, is all T-post insulators. This big full toolbox of T-post insulators, and then this box right here has some fencing tools in it. This is kind of a cool tool my wife got me. This is a fence staple driver. You put the fence staple in there, then you pound on this to, you know, not get your fingers whacked. It made a dent, but like literally all the toolboxes that I brought home are already full. Over here were these little clear ones. I've got tensioners in here. I've got this whole toolbox right here is all full. Every time you order net fence from Premier One, they send you at least one packet of repair pieces. It's organization, but I spent $60 on totes and tubs and things like that, and I've got one left to fill, and I am guessing that I'm gonna want between $400 and $500 of totes and tubs before this is all done. Goodness gracious, goodness gracious. We've hit the stopping point for the day. We're gonna meet some friends for supper tonight, but I just wanted to show you the progress that I've made real quick. Maybe ask you a couple questions along the way. Have you ever been to an auction where they lay stuff out on pallets? It looks like I'm getting ready for an auction. Maybe that's what I should do, is just sell all this stuff. This one right here is super organized, ready to go on shelves and things like that. So that one is awesome. This is like garden tools, chainsaws, things like that. Stuff that's organized, but I don't have a place for it yet. Garbage tub, garbage tub. I think we're just gonna need to get a dumpster, honestly. I really haven't done much back here yet. I'm not 100% sure what to do with this type of stuff yet. This is the kind of stuff that, like, once we get it all done and made, that's gonna get hung up high. So I'm not 100% sure what to do with that yet. These are all things that will just go on a pallet and we're ready to go. And I was looking at this wall here. There's a lot of things on this wall that I have a spot for in the house shed. And when we move the house shed stuff into this shed, then I'll pull those off. Things like hydraulic fittings up there, you know, these carabiner clips right here, that kind of stuff. Honestly, all that I'm waiting for at this point is for you guys to go down to the comments below and give me some ideas on what to do with this wall. Get the concrete in. Oh yeah, there is one minor detail after we get the concrete in. We need to put 2 overhead doors, at least 2 overhead doors. So there is a little bit of that needs to go on here. The other thing, I've got one more question before I go, and I promise this is the last question. So this is 3 bays big, 1, 2, 3. And right now we're looking at doing at least 1 bay concrete and enclosed, maybe a 2nd bay concrete and enclosed with an overhead door. Should we do the 3rd bay as well? Or are we better off, do you think, with a wall running down here to keep all of this stuff separate and then have a good gravel pad for us to drive the tractor in and things like that when it's muddy? I'm kind of leaning towards that direction. You know, I honestly wish that we had about another 40 feet right here of shed. We don't have another 40 feet of shed. It's not in the cards. So tell me what you think. Should we leave one of these 16 by 24 bays open and put the rest in closed with concrete? Or should we do the whole thing, drive the muddy tractor in March and April and all that kind of stuff? Just let me know, comments below. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is the start of leaning the farm. I don't know where this lies in the farm lean process or lean farm process, but I feel like for me to really get into that so that every place or everything has its place and that it can go into those places, I need to have a place for it. And that's the problem that we have right now, is the stuff right here. I just don't really have a place for it. So thumbs up, like if you liked the video, put a comment down below. Thank you guys all so much. Oh wait, I'm back. I found something while we were cleaning today. Look at this, cowbell. Do you know that one of the first cows that we had, Joanna, she had a cowbell when we bought her. It fell off one time in the field. We no longer have Joanna. She was old when we got her, but I found her cowbell today, so I think we're gonna clean that up, do something fun with it. Give me a hug, give me a love, give me a girl.